here. So got a little heater up here, man. It's cold. I got this big old building. Don't always got everything heated equally. So downstairs stays heated really well. The sanding room stays heated real well. Like wood shops are all heated real well, but up here, not so much. So anyway, so yeah, top for today is we're talking about layoffs, man. Layoffs are here. Everyone's talking about layoffs. And specifically, I think the Amazon one kind of was it's got all the buzz going on today. And a while back, you had the Microsoft one. Like Microsoft laid off a whole bunch of people and then put out, which is very telling, by the way. But anyway, so you got a lot of people talking about this, and a lot of people concerned about layoffs. And you guys know me. I've talked about the reason corporations do the things that they do. You know, it's because again, they have access to the third world, and if the third world doesn't work for them, they've got the third world coming into this country, and they will replace you guys. They're going to get you guys all on welfare, which will then become UBI, and you're going to be in rough shape, you know. So, like I'm always saying, you guys want to counteract this, you got to go to war for small businesses. You got to learn how to make things that are real. You got to learn how to sell to the 1%, and you got to learn how to basically make your own pirate ship, as Adam Carolla says, like really important. So anyway, who's listening here? We got Lego guys in here. Lego dude, good to see you. Glad you're here. We're talking about layoffs today, and we'll try and keep this under an hour. So we'll see what kind of people we get in the conversation today. But anyway, I wrote down all the businesses that I put in the thumbnail that have done layoffs. We're going to talk about why are people laying off, what is leading to this, and what can we do about it? Like what should we think of all this kind of stuff? And again, as a small business owner, I make a furniture product, right? I make custom furniture. I've been doing it for 10 years at this point. I got 9 employees, right? We make furniture all the time for wealthy people. It's a fantastic business, and you can do this. You can do some version of making furniture, of making a product, right? And we talk about the ways that you're gonna be able to be successful when everyone's laying off, right? Because I'm always telling you guys, having been in the private jet industry forever, the people that have the money are always spending. It doesn't matter if you're talking great financial crisis, you're talking COVID, doesn't matter what happens, 9/11, those people are always spending money. Never stops, right? So these are the people you need to be tailoring your businesses to, and that's what it does, right? So who am I? I'm Eric Wilk. I own the Splendid Crow here in St. Louis, Missouri, and I have these talks. I try to do them every day. I've moved to noon now, and we talk about whatever kind of the hot topic is for the day. I'm a furniture company, right? So if you go on my YouTube channel, you guys are going to see a lot of videos about how to make furniture, right? Different things related to the furniture industry. That's the thing that I know. That's what I talk about. I don't try and talk out of my ass too much, but we're going to talk about this kind of stuff again. As an employer, I think I got some good information for you. So what's going on? So we got a lot of businesses now that have laid off just a ton of employees, So you got companies like Dell, right? Dell, they said they got 13,000. You got Intel, right? Intel's interesting because Intel, the federal government just bought into Intel. They bought 10% of Intel, and yet Intel's laying off 27,000 people, right? So that's very interesting. You got Meta. Meta's laying off 11. You got UPS laying off 48,000, right? You got Boeing's got 17,000. FedEx, 12,000. You got Walmart, 12,000. Let's see who else we got. Amazon, 30,000. You know, you got Microsoft, 15,000. Citigroup, 20,000. And the federal government has gotten rid of 317,000 people. Okay. Now, what do you do? What does all this mean, right? So, I think what this means is that what's happened is the free money is gone, guys. The easy money, it's gone, right? I don't know if you guys remember COVID, but everybody was getting paid, like big time. It didn't matter if you were on welfare or if you had a multi-billion-dollar multinational company. Everybody was getting paid. The federal government was printing just insane amounts of money, giving it to everybody. And what I noticed when I was going through COVID was that a lot of businesses were paying a lot of money to people to poach them from other companies, right? And then they would hang on to all these employees. And what happened is the cost of all these employees went up and up and up and up and up. But businesses could afford it because, again, we were all getting free money from the government. There was the EIDL loans. There was the PPP loans. You had lots of people that were lower income people getting checks from the state, getting checks from the federal government. Everybody was just getting shit tons of money brought into their businesses and into their personal life. So the people that generally don't have a ton of money, they got a bunch of money, they're blowing cash. The people that are the multi-billion-dollar companies, they got a shit ton more money coming in, and they got easy money coming in their businesses from the customers that are getting the free money, the easy money. And it created this cycle where they were just hiring everybody. I mean, I remember talking about many times how like Meta was paying engineers like $250,000 a year and then keeping them when sales were going down, right? And we all talked about it. As soon as that free money, that easy money, started to kind of work its way through the system and those low interest rates weren't available, that the cycle was going to switch, right? It switched from where the employees could command $30, $40, $50 an hour because the businesses needed the people. Now you're seeing the opposite. Now that cash is very expensive and businesses have to have cash flow, right? You can't just take out loans, live on credit. Yeah, if your business doesn't make money, you're done, right? And the first thing you do as a business is you start cutting labor because it's the most expensive thing a business can have, right? So this is what is happening, guys. The pendulum has swung the other side. Now the employee has very little power and businesses are cutting these people left and right and they're going to get back to making gobs of cash. Couple in the thing with AI, right? AI is something that kind of came around. People weren't really quite sure what to do with AI, but they're slowly figuring it out, right? So AI is becoming things like customer service. It's becoming stuff like, you're doing your inventory management, doing your general coding, doing your kind of low-level specialized work, right? If you're one of these people that went to college and got really good at doing one thing, you're in deep shit. Plain and simply, you are in deep shit because you don't have multiple skills. You got one skill and it's easy to find somebody else that's already good at something to then do what you do. Also, pay them to do it and get rid of you, right? So this is the thing I think is getting ready to happen. Less easy money. Clearly the economy is slowing down a little bit unless you sell to the wealthy people. Business is pretty good. But the things are starting to slow down, guys. And the first thing businesses do is they just start cutting people. And I think that's what's going on. You couple like I said, the money is no longer easy. The employees were being paid way too much money during COVID, and they've kept those salaries, till now. All these people, if they can't if they can't justify their salary anymore, these businesses are cutting those people, getting rid of them. And this is normal in a business. No one likes to hear that kind of stuff, but Jack Welch talked about it 30 years ago when he was writing books about managing General Motors. He basically would cut off, or General Electric, he would cut off the lower 10% of people, just get rid of them, whether they're doing a good job or not. You're the bottom 10%, you got to go. Businesses are doing that on steroids right now, and it sucks because you got a lot of people that are going to lose their jobs. And what's going to happen is, that business is going to lose people and those people are going to lose their jobs, but their stock price is going to go up. So the people that own the stock, wealthy people, right, they're going to continue to make more and more money while you lose your job. And the even worse part about all of this is you have second and third order consequences. So when Boeing, what do they? Boeing's laying off, where's Boeing? They're off 17,000 people, right? So everyone knows that Boeing's home is in Washington, right? Everett, Washington. So what happens to all the ancillary businesses around there, right? The suppliers to Boeing, right? Suppliers are probably going to be okay. Boeing's still going to move a bunch of jets. They're just going to do it with less people. But if you have a restaurant there in Everett, Washington, you have less people to come into your restaurant, right? If you have like you're one of these Hibbett Sports companies, not the big dicks, but the like Hibbett Sports, one of these local sports stores, again, less people coming into your small business, right? So as these companies start cutting out all of these people, there's just less money to go around to the smaller businesses, right? And this is one of the things I'm always telling you guys is we have to get back to a time when there are less people utilizing the third world, whether that's the third world sending your products over there to be made or bringing the third world in here to do the work that other people would normally do. You have got to eliminate this stuff because you're basically going to have a whole bunch of massive corporations, and I've named a whole bunch of them, and they are basically going to be supporting everybody. And you don't want that. That is a frail economy. When you have too many large businesses and not enough small businesses, that means when one of those businesses goes bust, it is like, what do they say, when America sneezes, the world gets a cold. It's the same thing here. When that big, massive corporation that's in that city sneezes, the entire fucking city gets a cold, right? Because you have everyone supporting this one big company, which is why you need not one massive company and 100 small businesses. You need maybe 10 large companies or medium to large size companies and 500 smaller businesses. This works much better, but the system that we have here now is we've had massive consolidation in this country for 20 years at this point. Ever since we let China in the great financial crisis, we let China into the World Trade Organization. Companies have been buying up smaller companies, sending that work overseas, and basically just absorbing their competition, right? And again, they do it with the $250 they're paying the worker in China and the $32.50 they should be doing you. They use that war chest of money, right? That difference, and then they come in and buy up their competition. So yeah, it's going to be a bad deal, guys. And I don't think that it's going to get better. I think it's actually going to get worse for quite a while, but everything comes in cycles. Like you're gonna have situations when the businesses are trimming their fat, right? So they can make more money, they can get more cash flow into their coffers, right? Because as things go down, you need these large corporations to have a bunch of money because believe it or not, they're going to be the ones that are going to be hiring when times get it. They're going to be the ones spending research and development dollars to come up with the next big thing. But the problem is that the next research and development thing, it's all AI, guys, which means they don't need a lot of people to do that. AI is literally made so that it can essentially code itself, right? Elon Musk talks about it manufacturing. Elon Musk built Tesla so that the machines that make the cars can also make the machines that make the machines, right? So this is what is coming. And if we don't wrap our heads around exactly where society is going, we're all going to be in trouble, right? And this is why when I tell you guys that what is coming is UBI for everybody, right? It's going to start as welfare, but it's going to get converted into UBI. And these large corporations, they're just going to pay more money in taxes because they make so much money because they have the entire market to themselves. There's no competition because no one can afford to start a small business. No one can afford to do a side hustle, right? Especially when a business doesn't need humans, it needs machines, right? It needs people to help maintain the machines, but then the machines will just maintain the machines, right? Machines building machines, machines maintaining machines, right? And this is what will happen. And you'll get to a place where humans just aren't necessary. Humans will actually become the thing that is dragging down the progress of the machines, which is so dystopian and crazy, but that's kind of what's coming, guys. And as they continue to lay people off, you are going to continue to be put on welfare. And this is what I keep saying to everyone. If we don't cut off the third world, everyone's going to be on UBI. Everyone is going to be on welfare because as these companies shed people, trust me, they're not bringing them back, right? And as intercontinental transportation becomes cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, why would they hire an American to do a job here if they could just go to the third world? Like, they won't do it. It'll be impossible, right? And as relations with all these countries gets better and better and better, there's no incentive to do that work here. When you can pay China worker $2.50 an hour instead of paying the American worker $32.50 an hour, right? And this is my thing. I say it in all my streams because it's as obvious as can be to me. It makes perfect sense, right? And then you get your federal government, like we all know Trump, right? Trump made that speech about how we need to keep bringing in Chinese workers or Chinese students because if we don't do that, our universities are going to go bust, right? Like what? He's already saying it. Like, we're just going to keep bringing people in here, and we're just going to keep educating them so that they can basically do your job in the third world. They're going to learn the American way, and they'll do it over there. Which is just absolutely insane. Like, I don't know why more people don't see this. I don't know why more people aren't pushing back against the federal government, against big business for doing this shit. Like, they're literally going to put you guys in a situation where you cannot get out of it. It'll be impossible for you to get out of what is coming when they start laying off more people. Like normally when you lay people off, there's still work here. There's still demand and people can still have jobs. You go on welfare for a little bit and you search around, you find a new job and you're moving forward, right? You're back on the wagon, so to speak. And this time around, guys, it's going to get much more difficult because again, the third world is taking more and more and more of the work. The large businesses, the large corporations are then bringing that product back here and selling it to people. And again, as things get cheaper and cheaper, it's going to be cheaper for the federal government to put you on welfare than it is to give you a job, right? Again, you can pay the guy in China $2.50 an hour, right? You can pay the American worker $32.50 an hour, or you can pay them essentially $19.25 to be on welfare. And that's what they'll do. And when you're on welfare, guess what? You're not going to sue the company. You don't have to, require better living conditions, better working conditions. You don't have to worry about having a nicer break room, people wanting more wages, wanting more benefits, wanting anything. Because again, you're on welfare. You literally don't matter. They're going to pay your cost of living for you to live in some little shitbox apartment, right? And you can eat some little shit food, and you can have all the video games and subscriptions and porn you want. Like, they'll give it all to you because it costs nothing, because it's digital. And this is what SaaS companies do. Google SaaS, right? These are the companies that become hyperscalers, right? They literally look for businesses that can become what they call unicorns. These are the companies that they become the Netflix, right? They become the companies that are going to essentially put everybody out of work if they're allowed to proliferate, So we'll go to comments real quick, and then we're gonna continue to go through my notes as to what is happening right now, And again, the one we haven't talked about yet is this 317,000 people that have been let go from the federal government, right? A lot of them left. They actually got paid. They got paid $87,000 to leave, which is wild in and of itself. But we have to talk about why having people that work in the federal government is literally a drain on our society, right? We need to talk about it. No shade on anyone, but I'm going to tell you guys why every time you employ someone for the federal government, it makes it harder for you as a small business owner to start your own business. Okay, so here, we'll dig into the comments. I appreciate everyone being here. Hit the like button, guys, add to the discussion, and we got comments coming in, so let's go back and forth on this issue. And you guys tell me what you think. Do you guys agree with me? Do you disagree with me? What are you seeing in your town, right? Like, I live in Alton, Illinois, and literally Alton Steel just closed down this week, right? This is a company that had 253 people. And again, Trump was just on television saying, oh, how great the steel industry is doing, and steel jobs are coming back. It's going to be great. It's like, well, I got one that just closed down. What are you guys talking about steel companies are doing good? What he's saying is that if you're a big steel company, you're going to do great. If you're a small steel company, you're fucked, right? And if you want to start some kind of a steel company or something that serves the steel industry, you're fucked. And this is the thing, like, there's two different worlds going on here. And I'm telling you guys that you are getting ready to be part of the world you do not want to be a part of. You do not want to be in this situation where you lose your job, you end up on welfare. Welfare becomes UBI. You lose your home, but there's government housing. You can go live in government housing. It's paid for by Section 8, right? The large corporations are going to pay for it, and you're going to be stuck living in this thing where you got your SNAP benefits, so you can go get your Coca-Cola and your food, and they'll probably even give you guys free welfare and dental because that's what you seem to care about. The idea of making your own way, that doesn't seem to get as much of a fight in Congress. It's all about healthcare, and the cost of living and all this kind of stuff. They're going to put you guys all on welfare, and then it doesn't matter what you want. So, okay, let's go through this. So this is Minecraft Lego guy. You're in here. Hello, Minecraft. Good to see you, dude. Flabba Jabba. Remember, you were in here the other day. 6328. Why do we still not have a supersonic plane? Concorde retired. Well, so here's the thing about supersonic planes. And I know a lot about this. So this is, again, my background is in aerospace, right? So the reason you guys don't have another supersonic jet is literally because it's too expensive. So one of the things people don't understand about the Concorde plane is that it would fly at it was something like 772 miles an hour. I forget what the speed of sound is exactly. Maybe 742 miles an hour. But it would fly faster than the speed of sound, which is awesome because you get from point A to point B super fast. But what no one ever talks about is the tickets were really expensive because the fuel to fly that fast is way more expensive than flying at 450 miles an hour, which is what traditional commercial jets fly. The economics of it do not make sense for most people when you're flying at the speed of sound, right? Very different. So that's why a plane ticket, like I just bought 2 plane tickets to go to Austin. It cost me $400 for each ticket, right? If I was going to fly on the Concorde would get me there damn near twice as fast, but the ticket would be twice as much. So when you look at the balance between what a customer is willing to pay and how quickly they need to get there, the balance is about $450 miles an hour, right? As the crow flies, right? Flying a straight flight. It's 450 miles an hour with the cost of whatever Jet A is. I don't know, $7 a gallon. I forget what Jet A costs, which is the fuel you use for flying commercial jets, right? So that's the reason you don't have supersonic jets. Now, here's something that you probably guys don't know, is that a lot of your general aviation people, your Cessnas, your Boeings, your, not Boeing, your Gulfstream, your Ember Air, your Dassault, Bombardier, these kind of companies, what they're working on right now is all their planes can fly at the speed of sound. It's not a big deal. What they can't do is when you're flying over America, right, you can't just break the sound barrier because it creates a sonic boom. So to get around that, what Gulfstream specifically has been developing is a way to cut through the air so that you minimize the sonic boom as you move past 700 and whatever 42 miles an hour. So to answer your question, I know it's a lot of information, flabba jabba, but that's the reason you don't have supersonic flight today. It's not because it doesn't exist and we haven't done it, because you're right. The Concorde was the only company, the only plane that did it, and the reason that it failed was because it was just too expensive. That's what it boils down to. And what's the point of flying past the speed of sound if you could only do it over the ocean, right? You need to be able to do it here in the States where we have the most, I mean, you have just tons of jets flying all the time, so you got two problems there. It's too expensive and you can't really break the sound barrier here in America just willy-nilly. There's a lot of FAA regulations about when you can do this, how it's done, what altitude you need to be at. It's a little more complicated than just saying we haven't done it or we can't do it, anything like that. So I hope that's helpful. All right, so we got, who's this? This is Blah Blog. Great name, man. Blah Blog 4322. Stop talking nonstop dribble. Okay, well, are you an expert? Yeah, no, trust me, dude. Like, I'm a total expert on small business. I've been doing it for 10 years. I actually make an American product, right? So when people say Americans don't do this, Americans don't want to do that, they're full of shit, right? Americans do this kind of work all the time. Americans can do literally anything. But the problem that most small businesses run into, and people that want to have their own thing, is they have to compete with the third world, whether it's the businesses sending the work over there, bringing products in here, or bringing the people in here, right? That's the thing that you guys are fighting, and that's what I talk about on this channel a lot. It's something that you're not going to hear from the Fox News experts and the CNN experts and the CNBC experts. All these people that are so-called experts, none of them actually run businesses, or very few of them actually run businesses or have started businesses. What you'll find out is that a lot of these so-called experts, most of them are just academics, right? And the truth is that it's very different listening to someone like Michael Jordan talk about the game of basketball versus someone who's a commentator on the game of basketball, right? Very different perspective on how the game is really played. It's the same thing in small business, and this is one of the reasons that you don't hear a lot of these shows talking to small business owners. And if they do, it's some willy-nilly 10-second clip. You're not going to get a guy coming on here an hour a day and talking to you guys about issues related to small business, about making things in America from the perspective of someone who actually does it, right? I do woodworking, but I talk about the business of woodworking, So yes, I am absolutely an expert. And when I talk about the aerospace industry, I was in it for 25 years. I was a furniture maker and I was an engineer, so I did both these jobs. So I have a pretty good understanding of exactly what's going on when it comes to aerospace, right? So again, was in it for a long time. I'm not someone just talking out of my ass. So that's what's going on there. See, blah, blah, blah. No, we don't need to talk about that. Okay, well, tell me what you want to talk about, man. Let's go back and forth. Let's get into it. I'm all about it. Okay, OMG, delusion is real. Okay, well, what's your channel like, dude? Tell us what you're talking about. Maybe we'll come watch what you're talking about. So 4 bots are watching. Okay, well, again, trying to get my watch hours up. I've almost got my 3,000 hours, so I'm hitting a goal that I set for myself. And once you hit that goal, you then move on to the next goal, but you have to get the watch hours. And it's actually very difficult to get 3,000 watch hours on YouTube. Most people aren't able to do it, and the people that do it don't actually make a ton of money. So getting on YouTube and making money at it, or getting that 3,000 watch hours, takes a lot of effort. And again, I run a small business. I've got 9, 10 employees at this point. My life is literally about work, and I still find time to do this. So again, you don't like this content, man, don't watch it. It's all good. You might as well turn the phone off. Okay, got it. Yep, stop. Okay, you need to chill out. Okay, cool. All right, Aaron's in here. Aaron, good to see you. I got this guy here who's telling me that we only do bots on this channel. There's no real people on here. It's like I got, something like 6,000 people that follow this page. I get, whatever, 20, 30 watch hours a day doing these streams. It's like, no, there's real people on here, So some of these people, they're just, I feel like people that get on YouTube, I used to get a lot of these people where they would just be like, oh, this isn't real. This is, you don't know what you're talking about, blah, 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 blah. And It's not the truth. Like, there's a lot of great things on YouTube. A lot of people want to talk about real issues on YouTube from people that actually do the work. So for those that don't know, Aaron is also in the furniture space as well. So there are people that are furniture makers, that are small business owners that want to talk about these kind of issues, and that's what we're talking about. So let's get back into the conversation about what's going on in the job market. So again, as all these companies are laying people off, right, it's going to be very difficult, or much more difficult, for people to actually find real work that pays real wages if you're working for one of these large corporations. And everyone tells you that, you got to go to school, you got to get a degree so that you can go work for one of these large corporations. And I am the antithesis of that, right? As someone who never graduated high school, I always tell people that, no, what you need to do is you need to go work for somebody right out of high school. You need, instead of going to college for 4 years and learning from someone who doesn't actually do the work, go learn from someone that does the work every day, right? So if you want to go learn about furniture, obviously you would come to someone like me who runs a furniture business and literally is a master furniture maker, right? You wouldn't go to trade school and learn from some teacher who gets new students every 8 weeks, right? That doesn't make any sense. Like, there's no incentive for that guy to be the best at what he does. His only job is to give you elementary education enough to where some business will hire you, right? And I can tell you guys that small businesses, we don't want people that necessarily go to trade school or that have college degrees. We're not looking for those kind of people. We're looking for people that want to learn something. That's it. Just want to be interested. Again, an 18-year-old kid shows up to my business and says, you know what, I just got out of high school. I'm still in high school. I haven't graduated. I want to make furniture. I like the idea of making things. I like working with my hands. This is something that I want to try. Can I come work for your company? That guy's got a better chance of getting a job than someone that sends a resume in to me. So these are some of the things you guys are going to need to think about if jobs get scarce, right? If these large corporations continue to cut people like they've been cutting people, I'm here to tell you guys that the people that went and got college degrees the last 20 years, the people that have been doing whatever knowledge work, right, thinking work for the last 20 years, you guys are going to have to go look at new ways to make money. Because the truth is that the idea of being a knowledge worker and making 150 grand a year isn't going to happen. You come make furniture, you're going to make 150 grand a year, right? You come and you make do HVAC work, you can make 150 grand a year. Do welder, you can make 150 grand a year. The jobs that pay the most money, that have the most job security, are no longer knowledge work, right? Like, you can't go to college, party for 4 years, not work a day in your life, and then come out 22, 23 years old and tell a business, how great you're going to be for them. Like, you have no experience, guys. You have no skills that a business can actually use. The only reason those businesses were willing to hire the college graduates is because the $250 they're paying the people in China to make their product, and the $32.50 an hour they're going to pay you coming out of college, is the only reason they're able to hire you. That's it. Because what you do is you actually produce nothing. You do things like data analysis, and marketing strategy and business strategy and ROI analysis. Like, no real business needs that shit. They just don't. Small business especially, we don't care about any of that stuff. All we want to know is, what can you do that produces money? That's really all we care about, So people need to be thinking about this kind of stuff, because it's going to become much more of a conversation, I believe, in the next, probably to the end of the Trump administration, to be quite honest with you, because this guy is going to, guys notice that every business is coming in and blowing Trump, and Trump is just like, yeah, blow me and I'll give you guys some carve-outs in the tax system. Like, come blow me and I'll give you guys some money. Maybe I'll buy 10% of your corporation using taxpayer money, and that's what these guys are doing. You have no access to the president. You can't go blow the president and get money. It doesn't work that way. They're going to give you UBI, and then when you get UBI, you're going to think, well, this is okay. I guess this is better than going to work. A lot of people are going to think like that, and I'm here to tell you guys, it's going to work out bad. It's going to be so bad, but learn to start a small business, learn to do something really freaking well. Get a website. Learn a little bit about advertising and marketing in your spare time. Instead of watching Netflix and Landman, learn how to make a website. Get on Squarespace, right? Learn how advertising works. Get on Meta. Learn how to promote your posts, promote your videos. Get on Google. Learn this kind of stuff. Make something and try and sell it. Even if you sell nothing, the experience of learning this kind of stuff is an asset when you go to work for somebody else. One of the reasons that I can literally go to any business I want in America today and go get a job, whether I have the correct experience or not, is because I've been a business owner for 10 years. They can literally go and see my company's webpage, all the products that I was selling, all the videos I've done, all the content I've done over the years, all the contracts I've signed, my revenue for the last 10 years. Any business in America will hire me. And they're never going to ask me where I went to school. Never going to be an issue, right? Because what you've done is way more important than where you went to school. And this is something that, again, a lot of people don't like to hear this kind of stuff, but you guys, you got to wrap your heads around this idea that getting knowledge, because a lot of you are going to be like, well, I guess I got to go back to school. And I'm here to tell you guys, that is a fool's errand. It is not going to work out for you. This like, well, maybe I should go to trade school. Go to trade school is a little bit better, but what are you going to spend? You're going to spend a year, 2 years at trade school to come out and make $24 an hour? Or why don't you just go work for a business, make $24 an hour, and just do that for 2 years, and then actually learn from the people that really do the work, or learn from a company that really needs people. They will train you to do what it is they need you to do, and then you become more valuable to them, instead of going some generic degree from a college or a trade school. Like I've talked a little bit about trade schools, but I think I can tell you guys safely what's going on in the trade school thing. Well, you guys are gonna let's touch our comments real quick. Then we'll talk about what is getting ready to happen in trade schools. Because I just it's everything repeats, guys, and if it doesn't repeat, it rhymes, right? I mean, I think everyone's kind of heard that saying before. So all right, let's go through a few more comments here. So Aaron's in here. We just go, biotech Rick's in here. Good, see you, good dude. I can vouch there are real interested people on here. Yeah, and again, even if the content isn't always relevant every time, literally hearing from somebody who is like you, I think is fantastic. It's very rare that I get to listen to people that are like me, and I'm always talking shit on this bourbon moth guy, but these are the people I'm talking about. Like, you guys think that someone like that is like you, like they're not. Like this guy, oh, but he makes furniture videos, he makes cabinet videos, he's hilarious, he's so entertaining. Like, what that guy's doing, he's not making money selling furniture. He's not making money selling anything that is made by hand. He is making money by getting sponsorships from Ford, getting sponsorships from BetterHelp, getting clicks from YouTube, and getting content revenue and branding deals from Instagram, right? This is the business model that people don't quite understand how that stuff works. And again, as someone who actually owns a furniture business and makes real products, has to deliver something, right? Like, I can take money, but at the end of the day, I got to fucking deliver something, because if I don't, guess what? You get a reputation for being a shitty business, and then you go out of business, right? Like, we could go to any of these large corporations. You could have hundreds of thousands of people talk about how shitty these businesses are, but if there's no alternative, then you have no choice but to go with that business, So again, in my business, there's a million people that make furniture in the third world and the first world, right? And if I have a shitty product, guess what? Any of my customers can go to those other businesses, but they don't. They come to me because I've been in business for a long time, and I deliver the best customer service that exists. And I'll take the customer service challenge with anybody. So the furniture is good, the paint is good, but it's the customer service that keeps my people coming back to me. I'm a known entity, and when I say I'm going to do something, it gets done. Plain and simple. So, okay, more comments coming. We got more people in here today. Excuse me, guys. Good to see everyone. Glad everyone's here. Let's see here. This is Orange Sunrise, man. Great name. How'd you get that name, Orange Sunrise? Like, that seems like someone would have that. You'd have to be like Orange Sunrise 4, 5, 6, 7, But you got that one. That's pretty cool. Spiderweb. Yep, great, man. Good to see you here. Gene's back. Gene, good to see you, dude. All 4 of us. Yeah. If it could be 4 of us, I've had streams where I've literally had 1,000 people on here at one time. It's just it's very hit or miss, and I think honestly, Gene, I think it's like anything in life. You have to do it for a long time before you get any kind of traction. And I've been at this for 2 years doing furniture videos, and it doesn't really get the traction that I was looking for when I started making them, but I still do them. I still make furniture. But the truth is that when you actually make furniture for a living, very difficult to make videos about making furniture. And that's why I tell you guys, like, all the people that you follow on YouTube, that Four Eyes guy, not so much Blacktail Studios. I think that guy's pretty legit. But like most of these guys, they make furniture that nobody is actually buying. And they're able to make these videos and put these videos out because they can spend 3 or 4 times as long working on that one piece, because they're not making the money on the furniture. They're making it on the content, right? They're making it on making a drawing about it and selling it to you, getting clicks on YouTube, brand sponsorships with tools, brand sponsorships with anybody that wants to put a message out, right? Because the truth is that the people that sponsor the people on YouTube aren't necessarily in your industry, right? That's why you'll see a lot of people are all pushing BetterHelp, right? That was a big one. Or they're pushing like Roku earbuds. The people that do advertising on social media are not the same people that do advertising on terrestrial radio, or excuse me, terrestrial television or cable. Very different, right? You'll almost never see a boner pill on Instagram, right? You're never going to see, what's the other one I see a lot of? You're not going to see a lot of like Pepsi on YouTube, right? It's all boner pills and gold and all that shit is on regular cable because the demographic there is so old. It's only old people. Your younger people are here, but you also get a little older people. But also YouTube, predominantly male audience. You know, yeah, there are tons of chicks. Don't get me wrong. We got Aaron in here right now, but point is that you have to kind of know what your audience is on what platform because they're all different. You know, and the advertisers all different. You know, so that's the game, and I don't think a lot of people understand that. So Gene, I guess here we go. I'm gonna go at it with you again. So okay, let's see. More people need to watch the Owen report. I think he has figured. You talk about Owen Schroyer. Is it Schroyer? I think is his last name. I like that guy. He seems like he's kind of got it figured out. I actually watched a video with him this morning. He was arguing with some guy about Israel, I think, you know. And again, like a lot of these people that talk about the whole Jew-Israel thing, like there's just bigger fish to fry, guys. Like we got so many other problems to deal with. I don't know if that is necessarily the problem to worry about, but you know, there's something there, I guess. You know, I don't know. Okay, let's see. Gene says too much talk from this guy reminds me of Vikramaswamy used in 1990s rhetoric, which indeed might have worked in the 90s, but we're on desperate times here, so these answers don't work. Okay, well, I don't know what to tell you there, Gene. It's just again. We'll listen to get people going on if you got something going on your YouTube, I'll watch your YouTube thing tonight. So put something out there and I'll tell you, I'll go to your page and watch it. But my guess is that you're probably not going to put anything out, which is part of why you guys watch me. Again, real business owner, selling real products, telling you guys really how to get ahead in life. You know, so, okay, Aaron says, sure would love some of those tool deals. Yeah, right. Yeah, Aaron, there are times, you know, when I want that kind of stuff. And honestly, my wife, she's working on some of that stuff on her side of things. You know, she's working on some brand deals. And the funny thing, Aaron, is that, as I've talked to you about this, we use our home now. Like our home is practically a write-off. Because we do so much content in our home, we have so many not brand deals. What's the word I'm looking for? So many product deals within our home that we're able to write off. Just it's wild how much stuff you can write off, Aaron. You know, if you can get these companies like my wife's been doing this room, her office, right? Like I built all the furniture, did all the cabinets, did everything in her room. I built all the furniture for her, and the entire room's a write-off. Everything we did, all the advertising, it's all a write-off. All the, like the blinds and the curtains and all that shit, we all got that stuff for free. And again, we're able to write it all off. That's what I think a lot of people want to do. And some of that is okay, but you got to be very careful because if you take on too much of that stuff, that means you can't be honest about certain kinds of things. And when you can't be honest, you end up in a situation where you don't no longer have a voice. You know, and so you got to be very careful about who you work with, what kinds of products you're pushing. So that's one of the reasons that I'm able to talk the way I talk on YouTube. My wife would never do this, right? We would never put the brand of the Resplendent Crow along with the Modern Woodrunner. They're kind of separate things. So I hope that makes sense, Aaron. But yeah, some of those sponsorships, that'd be easy. Just make videos all the time. You know, you'd be like that bourbon mouth guy, run around in your Ford truck and you'll be a Ford ambassador, calling yourself a woodworker and not fucking making any of your money selling furniture, you know? So yeah, but again, content creators, cool. That's cool business. However you guys want to make your money, however anybody wants to make their money, as long as you're not sucking off the taxpayer, man, more power to you, you know? So that's kind of how I see it. So, okay, Gene, some more of your stuff here. Let's go a few more comments from Gene here. We'll see what Aaron's going to say, and then we're going to dig back into what do we do about the job losses, right? I mean, I'm a broken record on what we have to do. I think that, again, we have got to cut off the third world, where we get stuff made and who we let in this country. You know, they say that, you know, there's Americans that don't want to do this kind of work. I'm here to tell you guys that Americans will do anything. You just have to, not necessarily, you have to make them, but you got to limit their options, right? If you tell someone that they can stay on welfare forever, why would they go roof a house? You know, especially if roofing a house pays $19 an hour. Like, that's basically welfare, you know? Plus, you got to get up and go to work and do all these kind of things. Like, the math doesn't make sense. Even though in my mind, I would rather go work for $10 an hour than be on welfare, just because I wasn't raised to do that, right? My mom instilled in me very young that there's no reason to ever go on welfare. The people that go on welfare, I mean, she literally would just call them losers, you know. And again, not a nice thing to say, but that's kind of how I look at it, you know. And again, maybe one of these days, you know, I'll eat my words, but that's just kind of how I look at it. You give people less options to do less and give them more options to do more, right? So, okay, let's keep going here. Let's see. You have to understand the times we live in. Don't pretend like we aren't in a critical state. No, why do you think I'm on here, dude? Gee, this is why I talk about this stuff every day. Like, I'm here to tell you guys that you're going to fall into this trap. This is why I always tell people about education. Education has literally been the thing that has allowed businesses to move all the work to the third world. Like, you guys let it happen. Our government let it happen. And now that everyone realizes the school hasn't worked, the jobs are gone. They're gone. You know, and now they're like, well, what do I do with this education? They're like, well, I don't know. I guess you guys need to become HVAC workers. They're telling you guys now, it's like, let's push the trades now. It's like, well, why don't we just keep all that work here and not tell everyone to go to college? You know, but they had to have something to do with people. And again, when you're making $30 an hour for the company by sending the work to the third world, they can afford to pay you to, if you're fucking basket weaving degree, they can afford to pay you to, you know, get a data analyst degree or an industrial engineering job. You know, like, they can pay you guys to do this worthless work. It's worthless. You know, the only reason they can pay you guys is because of the third world. And that's all you guys need to know. That's what's going on here when you see all these job losses, right? They're getting rid of all these people because they're fucking useless, right? When you have to actually make money, when interest rates are expensive, right? When you borrow money, money costs 8%, you know, to get a nice big fat loan for your business. You can't do that, right? When it's 3%, that makes much more sense because the cash flow that you bring in from your business can support that loan at that interest rate. It can't support it at 8%. It just, the math doesn't math anymore. So you got to get rid of people. You got to cut your costs, you know, or don't take out the loans and go make some more money. You know, but businesses today don't know how to make money. Again, when your business model is to make all your products in the third world, bring that revenue back here, market the shit out of it, right? And put your stuff in magazines, put it in every, you know, cable show you can, get on TV, do the billboards, all that shit costs an insane amount of money, right? Open up retail locations. Like, people don't understand what it costs to open a retail location. Retail is 3 times as expensive as industrial. Hell, if not 4 times as expensive. You know, so you can either have a shop like we do where we make everything and we have a little bit of a showroom, right? Or you could have, if you make everything in the third world, you could afford to have a really nice retail location like companies like Restoration Hardware, Crate and Barrel, Williams Sonoma. The only way that stuff is possible is by utilizing the third world, which is why all their shit is made in China and Vietnam. You know, so I hope you guys see what's going on here. Like, I know I never graduated high school, but I'm not dumb. Like, I know how the economics of our country work, and it works on cheap debt. That's really what it works on. The minute you have to cash flow, which is have money at the end of the month because you're efficient and you sell a product that people really want, you're not gonna have a business, guys. And so, yeah, you're gonna see a lot of people that are gonna go out of business. You're gonna get a lot of people losing their jobs, a lot of ancillary companies that support all these businesses, they're going to go out of business. And what comes after that, I don't know. You know, I don't know what happens. You know, the only thing I can think of is that we just have to keep using the third world. And like I said, I found a way to not use the third world because I sell to the 1%. And if that's what it boils down to, is that you have to sell the 1% because the poor aren't going to be able to afford your products, then that's what I'm going to tell you guys to do, because that's what I think is going to work, you know. And it sucks that it has to be that way, but that's how it is, you know. And the problem with, I just brought in some furniture from another cabinet company, right? I'll tell you guys about this. Let me go through comments real quick. I'm going to tell you guys what I just got from another cabinet company, because not only do we make fine furniture, we also have one of the best paint products in the industry. Most furniture makers don't do what we do as in terms of high gloss lacquer. They'll do like a shitty generic paint job, but they're not going to do a really high-end, expensive luxury finish like we do. So I'll talk to you about that in just a second. Let's go through comments real quick. Again, I appreciate everyone being here. Hit the like button, add the discussion. I know we have a ton of people in the stream, but there's a lot of people to compete for the time, you know. But I'm going to win out in the end because I'm going to keep doing this kind of stuff. And I got a lot of people that enjoy what we do. So, all right. So Aaron says, I'm working towards that RN. Oh, man, Aaron. I've married an RN, and then I divorced her. No, that's cool. I think healthcare is always going to be a thing. I think that RNs make fantastic money. The girl that I was dating after I divorced the RN was a what's called an OR tech. You know, she's the person that assists in the operating room, like make sure all the tools are cleaned and sterile and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of healthcare jobs out there, and there's a lot of work for people in healthcare. But I'm here to tell you that our federal government is going to run out of money. Like this idea that everybody can just go to the doctor for anything. Like I think those days are getting ready to come to an end. Like we've what's the word I'm looking for? We have taught everybody. I guess taught might be the word there, or convinced. Convinced the word. We've convinced everyone that insurance is for anything. You know, and as we've done that, tons of money on things like healthcare. You know, so again, this idea that you can just go and when you're sick, just go to the doctor and insurance covers it. You get broken leg, insurance covers it. You go to all these again. You should have to pay cash for this stuff. I'm sorry. You want to go in for some fucking study because you don't feel good. You just go to the doctor. Insurance pays for it. I don't think that that's right. I think insurance is for insurance. You know, it's like if I scratch my car, like I'm not going to go to my insurance company and say, here, go fix the scratch on my car. It doesn't make any sense. You know, so and again, insurance is probably isn't going to pay for it anyway. Like at some point, the hospitals and the the healthcare industry has to make people pay cash for things. It's the only way to fix the issue. And again, it's otherwise costs just continue to go up, salaries continue to go up, and it's a big problem. You know, so we got to fix what's going on in healthcare, Aaron. But I think it's gonna be a great industry to be in for a long time, especially until the boomers are all dead. You know, I think that's gonna be a fantastic industry. But I don't know. So good luck to you, Aaron. I hope it works out for you. All right, so rah, don't be a victim. Will be a victim. Who's saying anything about being a victim? I don't think anyone's saying anything about being a victim, Gene. There's no victims here. You might be a victim of circumstance, but then what are you going to do about it? Maybe you prepare for something. I mean, this idea that you just go through life and just whatever happens to you happens to you. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, I would think that most people would be planning for something. You know, if you're in an industry that is kind of sketchy, you know, maybe you should be planning to do something else. Like I tell people all the time, you know, if you're not doing some kind of a side hustle, taking the skills you've acquired over your life and trying to do something with them as a business, you're missing out on an opportunity to get away from your 9 to 5. And some people they love a 9 to 5, like whatever, good for you. I mean, that's fantastic. I hate a 9 to 5. I could never go back to a 9 to 5. I mean, I guess I could if I had to, but I wouldn't want to, you know. So this is what I talk about on this channel, you know. So it's just how to get away from this thing. So okay, let's see. She said long-term solutions for a better America won't work in the critical environment. We find ourselves, we aren't in a better America. We are in a time of crisis. Yes, ideas that sound good. Well, again, you got to try something, right? You know, I don't know that we're in crisis necessarily. Where I think we're in is I think we're in a situation where our government is just too big. And I would say that because I'm anti-government. What I mean is that you have so many people that are on the dole. They are either employed by the federal government, they're getting Section 8, they're getting food stamps, they're getting WIC, they're getting their health care paid for. The government is somehow bribing them to stay where they're at. And those people all have a vote. You know, and when you have too many people that are taking and not enough people putting in, the people that are taking are always going to vote themselves more money, right? I think it was Ben Franklin that said it will herald in the end of the republic. When the average citizen figures out that they can vote themselves money, it will herald the end of the republic, right? And this is kind of what's been happening now. The minute we let the Fed print money, basically that meant the end of our republic, and we're done. You know, because no matter what, the federal government will always print more money to sustain itself. And everything has to stop. Everything has to come to an end at some point because you have to be able to let new ideas and new businesses and new concepts come to life. And if you're always doing the same thing forever, like nothing ever changes, you know. And you see where that's leaving us. I mean, we're $38 trillion in debt. We're paying $1 trillion a year in interest. Debt is literally the second biggest line item in the budget next to the military. And that's only because we keep fucking raising the military budget. For whatever reason, we can't seem to get any of these government institutions to spend less money. They just keep raising their budgets every year. It makes no sense. It makes no sense at all, you know. And then, you know, if you go over and start wars and go fuck with everybody, of course you're going to need to have a badass military. We just can't seem to stop fucking with people, you know. So I don't know. We're in trouble. We got to do something. Okay, let's see. And Gene, I'm curious, man, what do you do? What is it that you do that lets you get on here every day and hang out? Do I just have like the perfect time to come in and talk? Like, are you on lunch? Do you own your own business? Are you retired? I think it's something about you're about to retire. I think that might have been you. I'm curious what you do. Okay, let's see. After you fix the bleeding out problem, perhaps I need to adopt a better diet. Okay, well, let's see. Sweater Weather, 9119. Great name, man. Sweater Weather. I love Sweater Weather. Let's see. Is it as bad in America as the news shows? No, it's not. That's the thing. It's like America's bad is most people's like wildly good. You know, that's the thing. It's like when we talk about poverty in America, poverty is an 80-inch flat screen television with Section 8 housing and all the food you could possibly want. All your babies that you have that you can't afford, again, taxpayer pays for all the health care is paid for. Our poor people have it better than most good people have it in other countries, you know. So yeah, it's not that bad in America. And again, America, you guys ever notice like America pays for every other country, whether that's through the military or that's through some NGO or that's through some foreign aid that we give people. Like no one ever gives us shit, you know. So we're trying to export goodwill and we're trying to export our way of life to other countries, and I don't think that's really what's going on, but. Yeah, somehow we just export everything to the world, and the world doesn't send us shit except their problems. So yeah. So Sweater Weather, where are you from, man? Let me know. It sounds like you're not in America. Let us know where you're at, and we'll comment on that. So, all right. Aaron says, I like the furniture much. I hate the content portion, but it sure seems tempting sometimes. I am updating the powder room and starting other projects to try and diversify my work. And that's good, Aaron. Like I think that's the best option. You know, like you got to stay busy. And yeah, well, I mean, I know a little bit about your business. And I think you're doing great. You're doing fantastic. The content part, unfortunately, is just part of the game. Like, how nice would it be? Just like, I wish I could just not do any content, not talk about anything, just go make furniture and just be in my own little bubble. But unfortunately, social media today is advertising. Like this idea of traditional going in magazines, getting on television, like all that shit's dead, especially if you have a small business. If you're selling boner pills and, you know, statins and gold, like, yeah, you want to be on television because that's where all the old people are. But the new people and the new generations of people, they're all on social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, X, TikTok, these kind of places. And yeah, content is unfortunately part of the game. But Aaron, and this goes for anybody that wants to start a business. One of the things I don't hear enough people talk about today is if you want to be a successful business owner today, one of the things you really have to focus on is what's called like, know, and trust. And again, I don't hear anybody talk about this part of owning a business. It's always about, you know, how you can be more efficient and how you can utilize AI to make your business better and hire out your weaknesses. I hear all this shit like we just have fucking infinite amounts of money. But like, know, and trust is a thing that you can always work on, and social media makes it completely possible to do and at very minimal cost, right? And what is like, know, and trust, right? So the thing about like, know, and trust is if you put content out for a week, a month, a year, like, yeah, you're gonna get some people that probably like you, but if you do it for 10 years, guess what? You have a lot of people that like you. You will develop something where your customers like you, potential customers like you, but more importantly, the algorithms like you, right? So again, people think, oh, I'm just gonna be a flash in the pan. I'm gonna make a video. It's gonna turn me into a millionaire. I'm gonna make one video. It's gonna go viral and suddenly I'm gonna be rich. And like, it doesn't work that way. It takes years, right? Like I was talking about that Nick Fuentes guy and his wagey comment yesterday. That guy's been doing content for 13 years. He's 27 years old. What's that tell you? He finally figured it out. Yeah, his content is not the most likable content in the world, but it was likable enough that now he's the most popular streamer in the world. The world. You know, this racist white little kid from Chicago, you know, so that's how long it takes to do things, guys. Like I listened to Tom Billieu. Tom Billieu has been doing the same thing I think he's been doing it for like 8 years. You know, there's a guy following named Jack Morgan. He's been doing it for 12 years. It takes a long time to get traction for people to really like you, enough people to like you to support what it is that you do to where you don't have to do something else, right? And then there's the know thing. Like people think that if you get on the internet and you do a little bit of advertising for a couple months, like people are going to know you. I'm here to tell you guys, I've been at this for 10 years. I spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a year advertising. I have products all over the country. I make content all the time. My wife makes content all the time. We live and breathe on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, all these places, and nobody knows who we are. Okay, So when you think that you're getting traction, it takes a long time. You're a drop of water in an ocean, you know. So it takes a long time for people to get to know you, right? And then trust. Trust is all those things. Once you do all that, then people can go to trust you. Once you've delivered 10,000 pieces of furniture, they trust you. Once you've made content for 10 years, you've been in business for 10 years, all these algorithms, the people, the advertisers, everyone knows you are, they start to trust you. The internet starts to trust you. And then you get what's called the Lindy effect. The Lindy effect means that enough people know you, they like you, they trust you, that your business rises above the other people within your industry. And then you don't have to work so fucking hard to accomplish those things. And then it's only moderately easier, right? It's always hard, but it's not as hard once you hit that thing. So Aaron, I hope this makes sense to you. I know this is something that, you probably know a version of this, but again, as someone who's been doing it for as long as I have, doing what I have to do, like these are very important things that, again, most business people don't talk about. They say, it's going to be hard. You're going to have to work hard. Keep going, work hard, exercise, take your vitamins, only drink water. Like everyone has this hard as fuck recipe, and I'm here to tell you there's just so much more to it. So, okay, let's see. Aaron's talking about furniture. I would talk about that one. So, Gene says it's worse. Yeah, Gene, man, you're a little bit pessimist, man. But okay, so I'm assuming it's not safe to visit till. And again, dude, who are you? Where are you from? Not safe. America's the safest place in the world to visit outside of Switzerland, right? Fence-sitting Switzerland, who stands for nothing. America, we've got our problems here, but it's very safe. It's like even all the bullshit you're seeing in this Minneapolis thing, like it's all artificial. It's most of it's faux outrage. One of the things we have a real problem with here in America is liberal white women and the educated class, right? We've educated people for so long in this country. Everyone's minds are fucking mush here. And then they can't make it in the world, and they have all these ideas they learned in school. They get out in the world and people tell them to go fuck themselves and they lose their minds, and then they start attacking people and, acting out. And you just end up in a situation where we've got a lot of really goofy people here in America that we call it the vocal minority. These are these very small group of blue-headed, white chicks with nose rings and gobs of piercings and a thing for anime, and they're just loud as fuck. Like, that's really what's going on here in America. So, let's see. Aaron says, doing fine paints here. Oh, boy. Well, that's cool, Aaron. That's a tough paint to scale, but I think it's probably the most beautiful paint there is, right? I mean, the finish is amazing. But it does take a while to dry. But we haven't dealt with that stuff in years. But if I'm not mistaken, doesn't it take something like 8 or 16 hours to really cure completely? So yeah, I mean, if you get the money for it, I think 5 paints of Europe is a great way to go. But man, I spray 10 pieces a day. Which by the time you factor in doors and drawers, it really ends up being like 50 to 100 like parts per day. Yeah, if we had to do 5 paints of Europe, we could never scale that. But if you can make it work, man, people want to pay the money, man, that's awesome, man. Good for you. Okay, Gene's saying, I also use the analogy of storm, like tornado, and the barn door just blew off. And oh boy, Gene. Their shit is terrible. Their lacquer has swirl marks. Oh, really? I didn't know that. I figured it would be really good. So Aaron, is that right? You're saying 5 paints of Europe is not that great? Okay. Let's see. Sweater Weather says, can you give some info of the ice situation? Yeah, the ice situation is bad if you're in Tennessee. They got hit real hard, like around Nashville, like the Franklin area. And I believe I heard that Mississippi got it pretty bad as well, which normally none of these places get like crazy ice. So it's extra bad when a place gets weather that they don't normally get. But the problem with ice is that it gets so heavy and it sticks to things as opposed to like building up like snow does, and then the excess just kind of falls away. Like, no, it just keeps stacking and stacking and stacking, and things get heavy and they fall off like power lines, right? Or you get really heavy branches that get lots of ice going on, and then they fall down and knock out power lines, and it becomes a power situation where if you've got 30-degree temperatures in a place where it doesn't really get that cold very often, people just aren't prepared for it. Like when I lived in Oregon, a lot of people in Oregon don't have air conditioners. Like to this day, like a lot of new homes don't even have air conditioners because it doesn't get that hot. But when you get a heat wave where it's over 100 degrees for a week, I mean, people are losing their fucking minds because they're not used to it. And you do see, I mean, I'm not a climate like guy, like, you know, but I'd be dumb if I didn't say that climate is definitely doing some goofy things, and we're seeing some goofy shit. You know, it definitely happens. And so yeah, so the ice situation, it's not that bad, but in certain areas, it is bad for those people that have to deal with that kind of stuff. But I think the overall ice situation, if you listen to the, especially like YouTube weather, which unfortunately I do, I mean, these people, they just make it sound like the fucking America just blew up with ice because it's good for clicks, right? You're selling clicks to people. You're trying to get people to, you know, do clicks because clicks are what sponsors want to know. And they want to, you know, sponsor one of your posts, right? That's the game, you know. So it wasn't that bad, but for the people that got hit for them, it wasn't good. It was really bad for them, and I think some of it's coming. They're getting the power put back up, but we've got another round of shit weather coming in this week, you know. So I don't know, man. It's not too bad though. And again, the places that got like 2 feet of snow, like up in the Northeast, they get that every year, you know. So it's not that big of a deal. Jesus, let's see, guy can rant this time, do something about back 20 or 30 years ago. So yeah, this guy can rant. The time to do something was back. Again, no, dude. Like the best time to do something is always yesterday. But again, the next best time is do it today, and that holds true. That's held true for as long as that saying's been around. It's never too late to do something. You know, it's just it's going to be a little bit harder if you wait, right? I think it's kind of what it boils down to. You know, so. Okay, Gene, I'm going to go through your comments. We're going to get some other people. See, Barefoot Runner, man, good name, man. I'm a runner. I love running. Barefoot, good to see you. 5971, but it's the path we're heading down that's got me worried. Yeah, and I get it. It's not good. You know, there's no doubt about it. We got a lot of crazy things happening right now, but unfortunately, like, Trump's as good as it gets. Like, you guys don't understand this, but he's the shittiest of the shitty options, you know, and that's what scares me. Like, that's like, it really bothers me. It's like, if he, you know, at least is cutting taxes and close the border, the opposite end is that you raise taxes and you keep the border open. You know, so either situation is not great, but it's, I don't know, we got to see what happens this year. You know, like I said, if we end up going over and, like, again, we sent our one of our parts of our military to the Middle East, like, we're gonna go do this shit again. That's stuff that worries me. You know, if you end up with a major conflict with a country, not that Iran be big, I think we just go over and stop those guys in the ground, to be quite honest with you. But why are we doing it is the problem. Who's orchestrating this? Because I don't think that Trump is, but maybe he is. I don't know. But anyway, the point is that if we end up in a situation where we are in a major conflict with somebody for whatever, we just get drug in because we're fucking with everybody. I'm not the one that's going to have to go fight that war. You know, it's going to be you guys. It's going to be anybody that's under the age of 40. Like, you're all going to have to go deal. They're going to, you know, draft everyone, you know, if we get another major conflict. And I don't know. Like, I just don't like that idea of going over and fucking with people. You know, it just doesn't make any sense to me, you know. And now they're talking about, you know, they genocided all those people in Gaza. It's like, well, how long till, you know, they're talking about turning that area into a resort now. It's like that's wild. Like, how would you guys feel if someone booted you off your land and then turned it into a resort? You know, and I'm just saying, like, right here in America, kicked you out of your home, you know, bulldozed it all and turned it into a hotel. You know, it's like, didn't give you any money for it, just fucking booted you off. Like, you'd be pissed, right? And that's, you know, that's not even talking about killing anybody. You know, so we got weird times, guys. Like, the stuff that we're focused on, I can't wrap my head around it. I'm a big proponent of, again, kicking out the third world. Like, no more. If you want to operate in the third world, great, but you can't be an American business anymore. You can't take advantage of what it means to be an American and live here in America. You know, because the people that you're hiring when you make everything overseas are people that are doing dumb shit jobs, like data analysts, right? You know, you're going to be a spreadsheet, you know, analyze. You be data entry. You're doing jobs that just are not useful. And once all that free, cheap labor runs out, like, your job is of no use to society. It's only useful if you got cheap labor in the third world, right? I don't know if this makes sense to people, but that's what I see happen. That's what I've seen happen for the last, I don't know, 20 years at this point. You know, we're educating people to do things that don't really matter. They're only able to happen because of cheap foreign labor, you know. So, yeah, I hope that makes sense to people. Okay, but yeah, barefoot man, it'll be all right. Yeah, things will be okay. So Aaron's in here. Let's see. No Arhaus and other lacquer is not that great. So oh yeah, got it. Yeah. Our house is rough. I do a lot of. I mean, you know me. I talk so much about restoration hardware is the one that just really bugs me more than the rest of them, right? Because same thing, like when restoration hardware, or I mean, our house is the exact same business model. They all make their stuff in Vietnam. But when our house makes a piece of furniture in Vietnam, right? They're gonna make a dresser. That dresser's probably gonna cost them $1,000 to make and bring back over here. Well, these companies, they then sell that thing for $5,000 here, right? So they got $4,000 once they bring that thing in here. They're able to take that $4,000 and hire salespeople, branding people. They're able to put out those big, fat, beautiful catalogs, send that shit all over the place 3 times a year. They're able to, have really nice galleries, where you can go walk in and it's, smells great. You got great music. You got the beautiful saleswomen with their tits pushed up and the guys in suits, and it's like, it's an experience that doesn't really exist. It only exists because they make their stuff in the third world, right? Restoration Hardware is known for having restaurants that you can get to, but you got to go through their gallery first. The Restoration Hardware has 3 private jets, a yacht. They have penthouses. They have all kinds of things that are unrelated to furniture. It's all an image to get you to go into their galleries and to look at their catalogs, because somehow we've convinced people that if you buy a piece of restoration hardware furniture or our house furniture, that you're going to be rich. It's like buying a G-Wagon and thinking you're rich, right? It's like, just because you can afford the payment doesn't mean you're rich, but you want people to think that you're rich, right? If there's something in the psychology of it. But again, it's only possible because the third world is making the product. And this is the thing that people have got to wrap their heads around. Like, if you don't know how to do anything that's useful here, you're in trouble, and our country is in trouble. And the products that come out from these places are not of very good quality. And their quality isn't bad, and I think it's getting better, and it will eventually get to where it's just as good as what's made here. But at the end of the day, my argument for that is, well, who do you want to buy furniture from, right? Do you want to buy furniture from a company that uses your money to pay shareholders and buy private jets, or do you want to buy your furniture from someone who is your neighbor, right? Someone that's down the street where you can actually go into their factory, you can go to their place and look at what they got going on. You can actually talk to them and see what they do with the money that you give them, right? So these are things that enough people think about, enough people talk about, but that's what I talk about. Because again, I own a furniture business. I know how to make things. I have an American company, and I've made this thing work, and I think more people can do it. All right, wow, more comments. We got lots of comments in here. Okay, Aaron says, I'm sticking with lacquer, but learning fine paints is so I can work inside homes. 18, 68 hours, cure time is pretty. Yeah, no, the people that do that fine paints in Europe in homes, I mean, I think they're paying like $100,000 a room. Like, the money is really good, but man, you got to have prep work, Aaron, that is just out of this world good. You really got to have amazing prep work, and it's very difficult, at least from the people that I've seen that do that kind of stuff. Like, it is extremely difficult. And then like Kayla does something. You probably follow Kayla Payne, but she does a lot of that kind of stuff as well. And I mean, she just talks about how absolutely wildly difficult it is, and the expectations for the finished product are very high because the price is so high, so you can make a ton of money, but man, there's a lot of work. You gotta be really good at it, so good luck to you. I think it's really cool. You'll have to let me know how you're doing with that. All right, Gene, let's get some more of your stuff. Okay, when are you bleeding out? You don't need to know how you can be physically fit. You need to stop the bleeding. Yeah, I think that was the good thing about stopping when they closed the border, they stopped the bleeding, which is fantastic. But at the same time, then you got to patch the person up, right? You got to get these people out of here. You got to cut off the third world from making everything, because you're not going to be able to make things in America. And again, when all the large corporations take the money that they're saving by making everything in the third world and they use it to buy up all the competition, there's no one here to make anything, and again, they don't educate you guys how to make things and how to compete with them. They educate you on how to do things that you could not compete with them on. Again, you're going to be able to go get a degree in basket weaving and gender studies and liberal arts, because again, those people never become business owners. Those people never become competitors, right? They ultimately end up on welfare or end up in academia teaching other people how to weave baskets and how to, dye their hair blue and talk about feminism. Like this is where these people end up, and they're okay with that because it's cheaper to let them, live in their world of weirdness than to give them skills where they can actually compete with the company. So it's it's as clear as day to me what's going on here. It just, of course, makes it worse and worse still after they take. Yeah, it could be, man. Like, it could be bad. Okay, who's this Mr. Young Thug, man? Great name, 5166. Jesus, the way, the truth, and the life. Yeah, it could be bad. There's worse things, right? Like, there's worse things than Jesus. Let's see, Gene says, there's no better in this story, just worse and worse and worse. Well, you can't go through life that way, man. Life's a garden. You got to dig it, right? You got to do what Joe Dirt says. And that's how I look at it. Like, you can sit at home and be pessimistic and nihilistic about it, but man, I ain't going to do it. I'm going to tell people what we do here, and I hope that somebody will replicate it, make somebody's life better when I talk about this kind of stuff. And again, gets my watch hours up, and I help people do what it is that I do. And there are plenty of people out here that do what I do, and we all talk, and it's great. I really like it. So, okay, Funk Congress is back in here. Funk Congress, good, man. How are you? Good, glad you're here. We started off this conversation talking about layoffs and kind of what we need to do to, if you're affected by one of these layoffs, what happens to your economy, what happens to people, all these kind of things. It's easy to be pessimistic. I hate it. Yeah, and again, I'm the same way, man. I try not to be super pessimistic. I try to just kind of explain what's going on with American manufacturing, how you're able to start a business, what it takes to really start a business, all the skills and things you have to learn, and why that business today is the way that it is, and most businesses today are utilizing the third world to bring products into America, mark them up anywhere from 5 to 25 times, and then sell it back to you, make a massive profit, and then take that money and buy American-made shit, or take that money and give it to investors, right? Or take that money and buy up the competition here in America so that they don't have to compete with them. Or take that money, give it to colleges so that colleges can teach people to do things that aren't actually useful to society, unless you're doing something like becoming a doctor or an accountant or something that actually has some usefulness. They're giving people business degrees and basket weaving degrees, and they're giving people degrees and just all kinds of stuff that isn't really that useful, and they're guaranteeing it with the full faith and credit of the American government, the federal government, or the American taxpayer. So yeah, that is a problem, but it'll get better. So anyway, guys, I probably need to get going. I'm on here for 70 minutes today, so I appreciate everyone hanging out and talking. We'll do more of these topics, and again, when we're doing these streams, let me know if there's stuff you guys want me to talk about. I'm happy to talk about it and go back and forth with people. Gene, glad you're here. Aaron, it's good to talk to you as well. Yeah, we'll do this again tomorrow. So